Hello and welcome back to Beckler Guitars and Repair, and today we've got a pretty interesting guitar on the channel. So this is a 1970s Japanese made Degas guitar. So in Canada, Degas was distributed through B&J Music in the 70s and 80s, and they made copy style guitars. But this one I actually found on Facebook Marketplace for a crazy price, and it's an extremely clean condition. It looks like it was just sat in a closet for about 50 years. I've never featured an Degas on this channel before, and I've only played a few in my life, so I literally just got this thing, and I haven't even plugged it in yet. So we're gonna go through the whole thing, make sure it's all original, and then take it apart, see what it's made of, and then we'll give it a playing demo and see how it plays and hear how it sounds. Let's check it out. So I found this guitar on Facebook Marketplace, and the person was asking for $150. I think I was one of the first people to see it. I went and got it right away because I've always wanted to check out one of these guitars because they're pretty cool. Came in the nice original case as well. And yeah, this guitar is pristine for how old it is. Like no chunks, no dings, no scratches. Just really nice, clean shape. The frets are in nice shape. It actually played quite well when I picked it up and tried it out at the guy's house. And I didn't get the chance to plug it in yet, but these guitars came with Maxon pickups a lot of the time, which are excellent old pickups that used to come in like Grecos and Ibanez's. And in this era, in the 70s, these Degas guitars were actually made in the Matsumoto factory, who also made like Area, Ibanez, Greco. And these guitars are becoming quite collectible. People are looking for them. They're known for, being quite high quality and just kind of great guitars. So I have no idea what kind of wood this is made of. It's a bolt-on neck. It's got a really nice black finish with gold hardware. It's got the gold kind of like witch hat, reflector knobs. The hardware is a little bit pitted from being so old. The bridge actually has like nylon saddles. I can tell by the screw pattern on the pickups, like these are the big screws with the flathead adjustment. So I think these are going to be Maxon pickups, but you never know for sure until you take it apart. It's got a bound, like multiply binding on the body. There's binding on the back too, just single. It's got a super dark rosewood fingerboard. It could very well be Brazilian rosewood because a lot of these older Japanese, especially in the 70s, they were using a lot of Brazilian rosewood, so we'll have to have a better look. It's got some really nice, like the split parallelogram inlay on the headstock. It really does glow quite nicely. And then the Degas logo is actually in like a golden sparkly paint. And it's got that open book headstock design. It's got multiply binding around the headstock. It's got multiply binding around the neck. It's got that acrylic inlay material on the fingerboard. And the layout's, just like a Les Paul. 2 tones, 2 volumes, and a 3-way pickup selector. So this guitar, from what I can tell from pictures online, it looks to be all original. Doesn't look to have any parts swapped. And this thing is just in excellent condition. Again, this probably just sat under someone's bed for a lot of years. It's got the single ply binding in the back. There's our electronics cavity. There's our bolt-on neck here with a golden neck plate. We'll take the neck off and have a look underneath. There's no serial number on this guitar, but what I read online is sometimes there's factory numbers in the cavity, so once we take it apart, we might be able to find a factory number. And these Clover tuners are actually rebranded Goto tuners. So Goto tuners are great. They made them in the 70s. They're still great today. And they're just super high quality Japanese machine heads. And actually these tuners are commonly found on Degas area, Greco, Electra, Hondo, and I've read that they are just rebranded Goto tuners. It appears to have a decent setup on it, like the strings aren't too high. I didn't play it that much when I picked it up, I just strummed it a few times and then got out while the getting was good. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and set this up as well, but I don't think much will be needed. The guitar feels quite heavy, so I'm interested to see how much it weighs. So okay, yeah, it comes in the nice case. It's got that nice yellow interior, and the case is still, you know, holding up after all these years. Let's go ahead and get it on the bench and get the weight and start taking it apart and see what this thing's made of. So these guitars are known for being quite heavy, so this one is not bad, all things considered, weighing in at just a hair over 9 pounds. 9 pounds, 3.3 ounces, or 4.178 kilograms. I went to read the pickups and having a little bit of a letdown here. So the neck pickup is reading a 9.60, which is pretty standard for this era if they were max on. Middle, I'm getting the same reading. So, and in the bridge, I get nothing. So hopefully there's not something wrong with the bridge pickup, but we're gonna know more once we open it up. So again, I got this guitar for a very good price. I mean, even if it had a dead pickup in it, it would still be a very good price. So hopefully we can diagnose what the problem is and fix it. And the reason I think these are max-on pickups is because they have the rounded edges and the bigger screws. They look very similar to my 1970s Greco with max-on pickups that I love dearly. The pickups on this guitar, in my mind, sound as good or better than my custom shops, the custom Buckers. They just have this really, really nice breakup, and they're a little bit more trebly sounding, kind of like a Telecaster on steroids, I guess is a good way to describe it. But the pickups on this guitar look identical to my Greco, so I guess we'll see. So here's a look at the pickups. They're unbranded, and they have the single line of screws, and there's no 4 screws. So these look a lot like what's in my Greco. They're like very early style max-on pickups. They could be Goto pickups, but the ones that I've seen online didn't quite look the same. So a lot of these pickups had like a stamp on the back for the later years, but the earlier ones, they were unbranded. So I'm thinking that's what we've got here, some really early pickups. So hopefully we can get this bridge one going again. And inside the cavities, they're nice routes, but there doesn't appear to be any factory markings at all. So there's no help identifying the year in there. Although the reason for, I'm thinking it's a 70s model, early 70s, just because you can't quite see it, but in the light there is a little bit of a ridge. Maybe you can see it there. Just in the middle of the body. So this is like a pancake style body, which they were doing in the earlier 70s. And it's also got a volute on the back of the headstock. So those are both kind of pointers to what time period this came from. And here's a look at the bridge with the nylon saddles. It's got a retaining wire as well. It's unbranded on the back. And the tailpiece is a full weight tailpiece, and it's got that gold plating. It's getting a little pitted and worn over the years. It's full weight and there's no casting mark. And the bridge and the tailpiece just mounts into the body with a receiver system here. You can see it in the body. And I was just curious what kind of finish this was, so I put some acetone right here where it would be covered up by the pickup ring, and it did not react. So yeah, this is some sort of poly finish. And here's a look at the electronics. So yeah, these look to be Japanese style pots. They're full size, which is nice. You see a lot of mini pots in this era too. So getting a full size pot one is a bonus. And they're using these like green rectangle capacitors that you see in a lot of imports in this time frame. And yeah, you can see the pancake body there. It's kind of got a shelf right in the middle that you can kind of see. And the wood's all finished over, but it has grain that looks a lot like mahogany, so I would say that this is probably a two-piece mahogany pancake body. And there's no pot codes on these particular pots, so we can't really date it that way. Here's a look at the selector switch cavity. They're using these little spacers in between the plastic and the wood, probably just to make it fit just perfectly. So that's kind of another little attention to detail thing that's kind of neat. Let's go ahead and take the neck off and see if there's anything in the neck pocket. So here's the neck pocket, and unfortunately we can see there's no factory writing at all on this guitar, on the neck either. But what we can see is through to the grain on the neck, so that definitely is mahogany. Same with the body, you can see the mahogany grain right there. It's brown and has consistent grain with mahogany. So it looks like there's one tiny little shim in the neck with some sort of a graphic on it, probably just a little piece of whatever someone had in the factory to shim up the neck for a little bit better action. So I'm just going to leave it there, and let's check our neck fit. So it fits in there quite tightly. It doesn't like grab the guitar or anything. I've seen better neck fits, but it's not too bad. Alright, so now I really want to get this bridge pickup working. So generally what I do to troubleshoot the guitar is I'll plug everything into an amp and I'll just jiggle some cords around just to make sure that maybe it's not a bad connection or a bad solder point somewhere, and just see if I can get that bridge pickup working at all. If I can't, then I'll go ahead and I'll start measuring the actual pickup from the wire coming from the pickup, just to make sure the pickup is not dead. And then I'll kind of work backwards from there, maybe having to trace the signal, replace pots if I have to, replace capacitors, that kind of a thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that and see if we can get this bridge pickup working. So I've only been messing with it for a couple of minutes, but I've already got some good news. In the right position, the bridge pickup is working, and the neck. So now it's just a matter of figuring out where it's shorting out inside. So if I loosen the wires a little bit and make sure nothing's touching each other, I'm confident I can get this bridge pickup working. This is the electronic cleaner that I use. Just some basic electronic cleaner. I'm just going to clean up everything because it probably hasn't been plugged in a very long time, and the pots and the switch probably just need a little bit of cleaning up. I also like to keep it plugged in and keep testing it through the whole process of like reassembly. That way I know when it's back together, it's going to still work when I plug it in again. So everything's back together and it's still working, so that's great news. So our bridge pickup is reading as 9.44. Our neck pickup is a 9.68, and our middle a 4.78. Before I set this up, put strings on it, I want to take a quick look at the condition because it's in remarkably nice shape. Like there is some pitting on the gold hardware, which is pretty common for this age of guitar. And but the finish on the body is super nice. There's no chips or scrapes. There's a couple of very small impressions. And the pick guard's quite worn, so someone did play this thing at some point. And all the parts appear to be original. I actually did this. I broke the pickup ring when I was taking it out because it was a little bit stuck and it cracked a little bit. I might just put a drop of super glue just to glue it back into place. And let's have a look at the fingerboard. So the fingerboard is really nice and dark. But it's got some really nice reddish streaks in there too. In the 1970s, a lot of these Japanese factories were actually just using Brazilian rosewood because they had so much of it. And a lot of these guitars just have it as normal on their fingerboards. Even the mid-range models. Brazilian rosewood typically has like darker chocolate or reddish hues. It's got a tight spider web like kind of grain. It's got a tighter grain pattern, and then occasional it has like black streaking or like a striped appearance. So this particular fretboard has all those characteristics. So it's very possible this could be Brazilian rosewood, which is cool. The frets are also in quite decent shape. I'm going to give them a quick polish here, but there's no like pitting or like deep wear. Quite nice shape. The nut appears to be some sort of plastic material. I don't think it's bone. And the headstock looks really nice. You got that big open book design. In the 70s, Gibson had really big paddle style headstocks, and that's kind of what this is going after here. The Degas logo is like that shiny golden metallic paint. And I'm not sure what kind of inlay this is or what kind of material it is, but it's got a really nice shine to it. If you catch it in light, it really like has a multi-faceted kind of a glow. So it looks quite nice. Look at the truss rod cavity. So again, you can see the grain there. That is mahogany, and it just has that Allen key style truss rod, and it does appear to be responsive. It's a little tight one way, but it still turns. And it's a lot easier to get the neck specs when the neck is off, so let's take advantage of that right now. With that, the nut is a 1.67 inches or 42.39 millimeters, is a 2.02 inches or a 51.46 millimeters. Neck depth at the first fret is a 0.816 inches or 20.74 millimeters, and at the 12th fret that is a 0.95 inches or 24.33 millimeters. Here's a look at the neck profile. Very rounded, stays quite rounded by the 12th fret. It feels a little bit like a skinnier neck and like kind of like a slim taper C Gibson neck. It feels a lot like an SG neck, sort of. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and restring this guitar and set it up, and let's check the setup. Managed to get a nice setup on this guitar. So using my notch straight edge, you can see that there's very little gap between the fingerboard and the straight edge, just a tiny bit. So that tells us the truss rod's set nice and tight. Using my depth gauge here at the 12th fret on the low E, you can see that it's sitting at just about a 1, just over a 1 millimeter, and on the high E, just about a 1 millimeter. So nice low action. And then here at the 3rd fret, you can see that when I use the 3rd fret, the string is almost sitting on that 1st fret. So that tells us that we've got a well-cut nut, and we've got nice low action here. So it's nice and comfortable to play. And I'm just going to go through the whole fingerboard just to make sure there's no buzzing or fretting out anywhere. Alright, nice low action and no buzzing or fretting out anywhere. There's no sharp edges on the fingerboard, and the neck feels nice. It feels really fast. It's a little on the smaller side for me. I typically prefer a little bit of a thicker neck, but I don't find this uncomfortable to play. It's quite nice. And here's the sound acoustically. Sounds a little darker acoustically. And it's got nice sustain. The notes ring out for a long time. And it's got a little bit less vibration in the body than I'm feeling than some of the other guitars I've tried. But it does have a nice consistent vibration throughout. There's not like a dead spot where it's not vibrating. And the headstock actually is vibrating a lot. And it sits nicely on a strap with no neck dive. Alright, I'm very happy we've got the bridge pickup working and it's all set up and it feels good. It feels like a new guitar. Just looking at it from every angle, it just looks brand new despite being, you know, close to 50 years old. Alright, let's go ahead and plug it in and see how it sounds. Alright, I'm plugged into my 1965 Fender Bassman here in my settings, and I'm going to be using a couple pedals. I'm using a Jim Jones Germanium overdrive pedal. It's just a really nice transparent overdrive. I'm miking up my 212 cab with an SM57, and I'm using an AT 2020 Audio-Technica mic for the room. We're just going to be we're going through the clean positions, and then with a little bit of dirt. Yeah, sounded great clean. I just really kind of gritty sounding pickups. I have the amp set really low too, and it's still overdriving it a little bit. I might have the pickups just a tad too close to the strings, but that's kind of where I like to keep them on my Gibsons, so I'll leave them there. I'm going to just try it with a little bit more dirt now. All right, final thoughts on this 1970s Degas Les Paul custom copy. I can't believe I got this for the price I did. I mean, this thing is an insanely nice shape for the age. This is like almost a 50-year-old guitar, and it looks brand new. I mean, it's not quite mint. There's still some handling marks, some pick scratches, you know. You can tell it's been used over the years, but someone took, you know, such loving care of this instrument that you could use it for being only a few years old. I think it looks great. I really love that black and gold Les Paul look. I really like the, you know, the large headstock on it. I really like whatever they're using for that inlay, because if I can get it on film, but it really pops and almost has like a ripple effect on that headstock inlay. It's quite cool. And I really like all the, you know, the fancy appointments on this guitar. It's got the nice golden clover, you know, rebranded Godot machine heads. It's got the volute. It's got the fancy binding all the way around the headstock. You know, multiply binding around the neck, multiply binding around the body. The back is bound as well. And just to look at that really nice gold hardware. It's also really got that nice Brazilian rosewood fingerboard. That looks great, super nice and dark with like that chocolatey kind of streaks and reddish hues in there. And I thought the pickups sounded great. They sound a little bit different than what's in my Greco. These ones are a little bit darker sounding, not quite as bright, but I did really like the way they sounded. They sounded great clean, and they really took dirt well. They just sound like really proper, nice vintage, like PF style pickups. The electronics are all import style electronics, but they're using full-size pots and decent capacitors. And the bridge was great. It stayed in tune really well. Just it really felt like a quality guitar. I've played a lot of Japanese guitars over the years, and they're just kind of all over the map in terms of quality, but when you get a good one, you know, and this one is a great one. Yeah, the frets were nice, no issue with playing, it stayed in tune well. I was happy with the weight, it wasn't too heavy. Sometimes these Degas guitars are known for being super heavy, but this one was just over 9 pounds. No headstock dive, went on a strap, and it came in the original case as well. So yeah, keep an eye out for these guitars. They are great, and from what I can tell, I've seen a few of them locally for, you know, really, really decent prices. I think the word is kind of getting out on these guitars, and they're starting to command more of like collector style prices, but I think you can still pick these up for quite a decent deal. And this guitar is great, but ultimately I think I prefer my Greco just because of the neck. This one has a little bit of a skinnier neck, and my Greco has just like this big, thick, you know, 50 style neck that I really like. So if you're interested in this one, I'm going to have it up for sale on my Reverb page. The link will be in the description. But that's going to be it for today. Thank you for tuning into Beckler Guitars and Repair, and I'll have more for you really soon. Thanks a lot.